You mentioned it last week. I saw, I think it was Morgan Turanui throwing his support behind it as well in the Herald over the weekend, that Michael Cheika may well be the man to come back to Moore Park, or sorry, to Daceyville now, as the base is now, and to right this Waratahs ship, potentially keeping Darren Coleman in the frame somehow, or at least involved in the game in Australia in another area potentially. Jason Gilmore's the other one who is waiting for an opportunity as a head coach in Australia, clearly. Is the Michael Cheika return a genuine chance, do you think?
I think it is. I think there's been, particularly over the weekend, there's been a little bit more noise about that, and it's not just coming from former players. There's influential figures within Rugby Australia as well who will have a say around who. Uh, Obviously, Michael Check brings a lot with him, baggage, but a big personality. Generally speaking, likes to be able to do it his way or the highway. And we know that when he wasn't allowed his way in 2019, how things ended up. So, has enough water gone under the bridge? Perhaps not. But they'll also know that he was part of Leinster's. He turned around Leinster back in the mid 2000s when he arrived there. Took them to a European Champion Cup. He's the only guy that's won major tournaments both in the north and the south, and he's the only guy that's led the Waratahs to a Super Rugby title. So there's a lot of ticks there. The big caveat for him, the big carrot at the end rather, would be the Wallabies coaching job, and that's still potentially open come the end of 26 if Joe Schmidt decides, you know what, I've done what I wanted to do. I need to prioritise family. He's only contracted into the end there. And if you're Dan McKellar, you probably start to shake a little bit because who's on the ground, who's in Australia? Michael Cheika would be, not Dan McKellar, who would be going into his third season in charge of Leicester. So I think there's some serious merit to it. Jason Gilmore is absolutely a candidate. I wouldn't think Andy Friend is, only for the fact that there's too many people that aren't in the Andy Friend camp, even though I think he's a great person and he's done some good things, most recently with Connor. And David Nusafora, I imagine, would be a supporter of him. So he would have some figures. Joe Schmidt would be a supporter of him. He would have some people in his tent, in his camp. So that could help him. Nathan Gray's the junior Wallabies coach, and he's a guy that's been desperate to get back into the professional game. So I wouldn't rule out Nathan Gray either. Whether or not it's the head coach remains to be seen, but he's definitely sniffing around for a job too.